Linda, and Linda has a story to tell me about her son that was abused by Gladstone police.
Yes.
Can you tell me what happened?
My son was skateboarding on Sunday afternoon in Gladstone when he was accosted by Gladstone police because he missed the trash can with a piece of trash. My son was a gentleman and turned around and said he didn't know that it didn't get into the trash, turned around, picked it up, and the officer then, my son then told the officer, "Thank you, have a nice day," and then after that, the officer told my son that he couldn't leave and that his friend could leave, and then the officer asked my son what was his name. My son said, "I don't feel comfortable telling you my name, please call my mother."
All right, and if you're out there in the internet and you don't understand the context or the reason why this young man said this, in Oregon, a minor does not have to speak with the police without the parent present, correct?
Correct.
Okay, right on. Please continue.
So at that point, the officer then spoke into his radio and said code 1, and then more officers started showing up. My son's 13-year-old friend that's about 5 foot tall and about 100 pounds was shoved down by a grown man as they were going after my son. They then just started scrapping with him.
No, your boy's 14, right?
He's 14 years old. They tried to get him on the ground, told him to quit resisting arrest. He then told them, "I'm 14 years old, please call my mom. This is police brutality." Then they became more violent with him, and the sheriff, the acting sheriff, said that there was a scuffle for 10 minutes with my son. Two grown cops, plus there was 6 other cop cars.
Well, you know, they have these standard pat answers for testifying. Testifying. Excuse me, that they're going to use to, frame up your kid because they don't want to, come to grips with the fact that they're so fearful in their job that they have to dogpile on top of a 14-year-old boy that weighs a little more than 100 pounds, and that's what that's about. It's obvious. Like 10-minute struggle?
Yeah.
Wow, like the never-ending fight. And you think it's that scene in, They Live with Roddy Piper and the other fellow, just ridiculous. I mean,
the comments from the sheriff is along the lines, well, he was really strong. That's why it took so long to subdue my son, to arrest him, to cuff him and put him in the back of the car. Then when I picked him up, upon seeing my son, I realized that he had been choked. He had broken capillaries all over his face. And I asked the police, the people that were at the detention center for the juvenile, did anybody seek medical attention for my son? You can visibly see that he's been assaulted. He couldn't feel his hand. He's visibly bruised up all over his face. So you have the injury report
from the hospital that I can link under this video in the description beneath?
Yes, you do.
Okay, right on. So people on the internet, look below this video in the description, and I will try to link to photos of her son. And what was his injuries exactly?
He has a concussion.
Okay.
He has a sprained right thumb. He has a sprained back. He has contusions all over his back. He has multiple scrapes and bruises all over him, and 2 black eyes from being choked.
And this is all for littering offense.
This is all for littering.
For littering.
And asserting his rights. He said, "I don't want to speak without my mother present," correct?
My son has severe anxiety, and he said, I don't feel comfortable telling you my name. Please call my mom."
Right on. And what is your name?
I'm Linda.
Linda, right on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Children shouldn't be abused for throwing something in the trash and making all the right choices. He asked to call his parent, and he was denied the option to call his parents, while Gladstone police enjoyed their option of beating him up and assaulting him.
And
under
this
the name
Gladstone PD and sheriffs together?
I'm not sure.
Officer Fitch from Gladstone Police. I actually talked to the chief of police, Chief Jolly.